Hello everyone. Somewhere in the South Pacific, there is a mysterious virgin island inhabited by women who hold the secret to longevity. The local inhabitants age 10 times slower than other people. Obsessed with the idea of immortality, the influential Mr. Song has sent many expeditions to the area, but none have returned. Only one explorer managed to reach the island, but he disappeared without a trace. 10 years later, his son Wang embarks on a dangerous journey, attempting to unravel the island's greatest mystery and find his father. Upon hearing on the radio that Mr. Song, a well-known philanthropist and businessman, is funding another expedition to find the mysterious Virgin Island, a man named Wang searches the internet for information on the subject. Reports suggest that the island is located in the South Pacific and is surrounded by strong underwater currents. Furthermore, the population consists entirely of women. However, no explorer who has participated in the expeditions has ever set foot on its shores, except for a certain Li, who managed to land on the Virgin Island and then disappeared without a trace. He was Wang's father. The hero submits an application to join the expedition and packs his equipment to depart. At the port, Wang meets his old friend Xiang Yu, a navigator who used to serve in the Royal Navy of Somalia. He wants to join the expedition to the island with him and has already bought an old boat to do so. Instead of using his friend's boat, Wang goes straight to the large ship that Song has prepared for the expedition. As the partners embark, one of Song's assistants appears and gives them a GPS tracker to be activated on the island. The explorers set sail. The ocean adventure seems fun at first, and Xiang and Wang enjoy their time on the ship. But after 2 months of sailing on the open ocean, it is no longer fun. The ship floats aimlessly in the middle of the ocean, and the exhausted and hungry travelers can't even make it to the deck. However, they gather their strength to study the map again. It turns out Xiang was holding the map upside down. When Wang falls on his back, exhausted and desperate, with his face turned toward the sun, a white, smelly drop of seagull poop falls on him. Realizing that the birds are circling near the coast, Wang grabs his telescope. Looking into the distance, he sees an island on the horizon, but the coastal waves make it impossible to cross by boat. So, the partners have no choice but to swim to the island. After overcoming the brutal forces of nature, the heroes finally reach the shore. With some effort, Wang opens his eyes and looks around. He immediately sees female legs in a belligerent stance in front of him, with spears and arrows pointed at his face. Exhausted, he loses consciousness. Waking up again, the travelers see armed and belligerent women around them. Xiang tries to greet them in different languages to find out where they are. The strangers respond in Chinese, leading Xiang to believe that after 2 months of sailing, they have returned to their starting point and are in a remote province where a movie is being filmed. He mistakes the women for actresses and everything around him for a film set. He frowns and demands to see the director. His behavior irritates the locals, and the Joker gets a smack. The island women lock the strangers in a cage. One of them tells them that in the last 500 years, they are among the few who have managed to reach the island. A surprised Xiang cannot believe this because the women look so young. But Wang, hearing this, realizes what has happened. They have indeed reached the island where the secret of longevity is hidden. He calms his friend and suggests escaping at night, using a knife to free themselves from the cage. When darkness falls, the partners escape from their cage, plan their route to the coast, and separate before running towards freedom. Xiang's recklessness leads him into a series of traps from which he cannot escape, while Wang takes an alternative route and reaches the village. Hiding from the night patrol, he sneaks into a nearby hut, but he hears someone approaching and has to hide. A girl named Mu Yan and her younger sister enter the hut and discuss the strangers who have appeared on the island. Reasoning that they do not look like bandits, the girl takes off her dress and gets into the bathtub. In an attempt to escape the trap, Wang crawls towards the exit, but he bumps into the younger girl, whose silence Wang tries to buy with sweets. However, the girl still screams, revealing the hero's presence. Without delay, the women of the island come running to help, and Wang is quickly surrounded with no chance of escape. Wang is taken to the elder's hut, where they must decide how to punish him for seeing one of the island's women naked. However, Xiang, who had freed himself from the traps and arrived to rescue his friend, unexpectedly enters the hut. But his threats seem like mockery, and the man gets what he deserves for his undignified behavior. The head of the island community decides to execute the strangers, but first she intends to find out why they came to the island. Wang reveals that he is looking for his father, an explorer who arrived here over 10 years ago. To his surprise, the elder knows Li. Her eyes light up with hope, but the stern woman declares that she would like to find the man and kill him with her own hands. Discovering that Wang is a descendant of the explorer Li, she decides that merely executing the strangers is not enough. The men condemned to death are tied up and placed in barrels with water and herbs. The partners ponder their imminent deaths when Mu suddenly appears. The enraged girl tells them that there is a curse on the island. If a girl's naked body is seen by a man, she will become ugly, and the only way to break the curse is to kill the one who was watching. Mu draws a knife, but instead of stabbing Wang, she cuts the rope around his arms. The girl does not want anyone to die because of her, so she frees the prisoners and allows them to escape. However, the partners fall into a trap during the night, and the next morning they are caught and tied up again. The tribe and their visitors are in a clearing near a sacred tree, where the elder joyfully declares that she is about to have a barbecue. The girls then take the captives and start seasoning them with spices. The culinary ritual is suddenly interrupted by the news that a girl named Chun Hua is drowning in the furious coastal waves, causing the tribe to run to rescue her. The captives use embers to free themselves from the ropes and drop the smoldering log at the roots of the sacred tree. On the beach, with the goal of swimming to the drifting yacht, the partners see the helpless women crying, unable to help their dying friend. Despite the tempting chance to escape, the heroes decide to help the women. Wang runs into the water and saves Chun, bringing her back to her senses by performing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. In another tribal council, the elder decides the men's fate, given their heroic actions. Mu and Chun convince the elder to decline the death penalty, and the travelers are allowed to stay for 3 years, until the winds change and the current brings the yacht to the island's shores. Suddenly, the elder discovers that the sacred tree was burned. It is clear who is to blame for this. Mu and Chun once again manage to plead for forgiveness for the heroes, and the elder gives them 3 months to revive the tree, or else the boys will face the death penalty. Realizing what they are up against, Wang and Xiang try to revive the charred tree, meticulously rubbing the ashes from the bark, fertilizing the roots, and watering it with nutrients. With each passing day, the men feel more at home among the tribe. Chunhua starts pursuing Xiang and flirting with him, hitting him with a stick when he resists. Xiang has no choice but to court her. Meanwhile, Wang watches Mu, who is weaving flower crowns, and tries to save her from a venomous snake. It turns out he didn't need to. The reptile was the girl's pet. Despite the incident, the young couple grows closer and spends the night making wishes under the falling stars. Wang remembers his father, a missing researcher. After some time, a miracle happens. The heroes manage to revive the sacred tree, and at night, the tribe celebrates joyfully. The women dance around the fire, while Chun desperately tries to gain Xiang's attention. Meanwhile, Wang is mesmerized by Mu, who dances gracefully in front of the flames, and he realizes that he wants to take care of this fragile girl for the rest of his life. As they walk together after dancing, Mu tells Wang the story of the tribe. Once upon a time, there was a tribe of witches who guarded the seed containing the source of eternal youth. Other tribes, fearing death, attacked the guardian to steal the seed, but the witch gave it to the youngest girl and told her to flee. The girl made her way to an uninhabited island, which gradually filled with life through the power of the seed. The island is now home to a prosperous clan of witches, and that girl from the story is the eldest. The next day, Mu takes Wang to the place on the island where his father was last seen. Wang finds the explorer's diary, in which he wrote that he intended to end the expedition, so that the ancient tragedy that befell the witch tribe would never happen again. In the notes, he also addresses his son and asks him to understand the choices he had to make. Wang makes the same decision, to end the expedition and stay on the island. Xiang, who does not want to return to civilization to breathe smoke and recycled oil, agrees with his idea. Together, they destroy the GPS tracker and leave the coast. As they move away from the device, they hear it transmitting a signal. Mr. Song immediately receives the coordinates. The heroes explain what happened to the community elder. Realizing that they have put the tribe in danger, the two friends begin to prepare for Song and his associates. They have no weapons, so the clever men devise another plan. They teach the women the art of femininity and elegance, dressing them in attractive clothing, instructing them on how to use makeup and act politely. While they are preparing for Mr. Song, he is already approaching the island. He decides to send a small group to scout ahead before going ashore. A formidable armed squad lands on the island and encounters a village of island women. The seductive island girls lure and disarm the bandits who come their way. Soon, the entire reconnaissance team is firmly tied up. After disarming Song's accomplices, Wang and Xiang wait for Song to appear. They decide to deceive the villain by saying they found the wrong island, but their plan has a major flaw. They know the Virgin Island is exclusively populated by women, and they must show Song the men for the plan to work. Soon, Song and his armed henchmen appear on the island. He sees the peaceful population and his explorers, who cheerfully greet the chief. They tell him this is not the mysterious island of women he was looking for. To prove it, two men, who are actually two local women in disguise, walk by. Song becomes suspicious, and to distract him, Wang and Xiang lead him to a table with poisoned food. However, the clever villain has his assistant drink the offering first, and when he drops dead, the plan is revealed. Song's guards tie up all the women and the two friends. The villain uses Mu's younger sister as leverage to force her to search for the seed. They also place an explosive device on Wang as a backup plan. The group advances into the jungle, but the girls find a way to free themselves from the ropes and attack the henchmen. Obsessed with his idea, Song won't back down and follows Wang, who leads him to the coast. Song realizes that Wang has deceived him and is not leading him to the elixir of youth. Wang refuses to show the way, even under threat of death, and the women and Xiang come to attack the villain and try to disarm him, but he still manages to press the button. A 30-second countdown begins on the bomb's display. Wang decides to sacrifice himself to save the others and runs through the coastal waves away from the shore. Memories of his happy life on the island flash before his eyes, and soon there is an explosion. The survivors on the shore are filled with sorrow as they mourn their lost friend, while Mu cries inconsolably for her beloved. After a brief moment of unconsciousness, Wang, feeling utterly exhausted, struggles to open his eyes and sees the island's shore. What do you think? Is the movie worth seeing or not? Leave your answer in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss the summary of your favorite films.